Fans are done with Beyonce. Yes, you heard that right. The Beyhive is starting to feel the lingering fatigue of Queen Bey herself, and she's officially canceled. Reason number one, overexposure. Now, before I dive into the reasons behind this fatigue, let me make it clear that she is undoubtedly one of the most talented. In recent years, though, Beyonce has been everywhere. Beyonce has faced criticism for overexposure and oversaturation, particularly in the mid-2010s. Critics argue that her constant presence in the media and her prolific output of music and performances have led to fatigue and decreased interest in her brand. She's released several albums, gone on tour, performed at countless award shows, and even launched her own activewear line. While it's understandable that she wants to stay relevant and capitalize on her success, the sheer volume of her output has started to feel overwhelming to some fans. When you're constantly bombarded with Beyonce's music videos, and endorsement deals, it's only natural to start feeling a little fatigued. Next up, we have Bumpgate. When Beyonce was pregnant with daughter Blue Ivy Carter, who will someday likely take over the world, rumors began spreading that one, she faked her pregnancy with a prosthetic belly, and two, had enlisted a surrogate to carry the child. A video that went absolutely viral overnight caused such chaos. The rumor mill went into overdrive when a video of Beyonce's high-definition interview with Australian's Sunday Night HD surfaced online, and honestly, it would have been a rather forgettable chat were it not for one moment at the start of the sit-down when a very pregnant Beyonce took a seat and her bump, well, took a break. When she sits down, you can actually see her stomach deflating, crumpling, and folding in on itself, however you want to describe it. Stills and slow-mos of the seemingly disappearing bumps circulated by the dozens, and conspiracy theories around as to the curious behavior of her baby bump. Was Beyonce wearing different size bellies to throw off the press as to how far along she was? Had she and Jay-Z gone the surrogate route and her seemingly deflating baby bump proved it, or was it something else entirely? Beyonce's publicist Yvette Noel Schur was quick to shut down the conspiracy theories of the masses, telling E! News that sites and rumors suggesting that Jay-Z's better half is wearing a prosthetic or otherwise faking her baby bump are foolish. Beyonce addressed it only once, saying, "That was crazy. It wasn't hurtful. It was just crazy. Where did they come up with this?" Now, Wendy Williams discussed the incident on her talk show and actually had two of her staff members who were pregnant at the time, with one of them being due like the same month as Beyonce, sit down in very similar dresses to see if their belly, or I guess fabric, folded in the same way. Both did not, and so that also drew a lot of attention and caused many other people to believe the fake pregnancy rumor. Now, one fan online pointed out that Beyonce has been so secretive about her pregnancy, and that the only footage of her being pregnant was grainy and not clear, and some fans did come to her defense, saying that there was actually a pic of her on the beach in a bikini, but Wendy Williams very clearly pointed out that that photo of her standing in her bikini anyone could replicate if you just stand and push your stomach out enough. Now, some conspiracy theories Wendy talks about is that one, the baby was to help her depleting music career at the time. Theory number two, that the baby was to keep Jay-Z's alleged mistress away. Theory number three, the alleged woman in Trinidad with Jay-Z's son was intimidating to Beyonce, and Beyonce was basically trying to keep up with her. Theory four, she was going to use a surrogate to maintain her body and not put it under stress. And theory five, they're adopting, but wanted to play it off like she gave birth. Now, Wendy even predicted it would be an at-home water birth. However, we now know that that didn't happen, as Blue Ivy was born at Lenox Hill Hospital in Manhattan, New York on January 7th, 2012. Lack of authenticity. Another reason why some fans may be feeling tired of Beyonce is the perception that she's become too calculated and manufactured. With the rise of social media, it's become increasingly easy for celebrities to curate a perfect image of themselves, and Beyonce is no exception. While she's always been known for her polished performances and music videos, some fans feel that she's lost touch with her roots and is now more focused on maintaining a flawless public image than creating genuine art. One person on social media said, "Sometimes I do feel like the only thing Beyonce doesn't have that Prince and Madonna and MJ etc. did have is a consistently high quality discography. Everything else seems impressive. Her dedication, perfectionism, and ambition is absolutely the stuff of legend, but she doesn't yet have the collection of music to back it up, I feel. In time she will, I'm sure of it." Another person said, "She is quite overrated in my opinion. She's a good and occasionally great artist, artist, but in recent years, it seems like people and critics have been praising and revering her as highly, as artists like MJ, Prince, Bowie, and Madonna were praised in their heyday. I think people want another huge, legendary pop star that can be looked back on as one of the greatest to ever do it, but in my opinion, Beyonce just doesn't quite cut it. That said, she is an amazing performer. Beyonce's rise to fame began at a young age. We all remember her hit R&B group Destiny's Child that her father and ex-manager Matthew Knowles created back in the 90s. That skyrocketed Beyonce into stardom. So, who would have thought that with her wide range of exceptional vocal talents that she would ever be caught lip syncing, right? I certainly didn't, and I know millions of others didn't. So that's exactly what happened though, and not only did it happen, but it happened at President Barack Obama's second inauguration in 2013. Beyonce was invited to perform the national anthem, being the Star-Spangled Banner, which would be watched by millions of people around the world, no biggie. Now, many assumed at first, of course, that she was in fact singing live. However, it was later revealed that Beyonce had lip-synced the entire performance, actually singing along to the pre-recorded track of the anthem. Now, the news sparked a heated debate, with some critics accusing Beyonce of being dishonest and lacking integrity, while others defended her, saying that the cold weather and technical issues made it necessary to use a pre-recorded track. Now, according to the Marine Corps band, the decision to use a pre-recorded track was actually made like minutes before the performance. Beyonce also said that she had sung along to the track to ensure that the performance was flawless. Now, when she admitted that she had lip-synced, the singer said she's a perfectionist and wanted her performance for Barack Obama to be a memorable one. Now, she called the day emotional, and she went on to say, "I practiced until my feet bleed, and I did not have time to rehearse with the orchestra. Due to no proper sound check, I did not feel comfortable taking a risk. It was about the president and the inauguration, and I wanted to make him and my country proud. So I decided to sing along with my pre-recorded track," which is very common in the music industry, and I'm very proud of my performance. So, to be fair, and to her defense, the Star-Spangled Banner is notoriously difficult piece to sing. It spans such a huge vocal range, and it was also bitterly cold that day in Washington. So the combination of nerves and the cold may have influenced Beyonce's decision to rely on the pre-recorded track. We will forgive you, B, but we won't forget it. Overemphasis on visuals. In recent years, Beyonce has placed an increasing emphasis on visuals in her music and live performances. While her music videos and concerts are undoubtedly stunning and meticulously, choreographed, some fans feel that she's prioritizing style over substance. With the rise of streaming services and social media, it's become easier than ever for artists to just focus on creating visually striking content that generates buzz and goes viral. However, this approach can sometimes come at the expense of meaningful lyrics and genuine emotional connection. Unrealistic expectations is another reason. Some fans may be feeling tired of Beyonce because they've placed unrealistic expectations on her. Moving on now, Beyonce has been called out many times for sampling songs throughout her career without actually getting permission first. One of the most notable cases is the song Ring the Alarm from her 2006 album B-Day. The song's chorus bears a striking resemblance to the 1995 song Get Me Bodied by Rare Essence, and also samples elements from the 97 song La Di Da Di by Doug E. Fresh and Slick Rick. In 2010, Beyonce was actually sued by songwriter Jennifer Armour, who claimed that Beyonce's song Baby Boy featuring Sean Paul infringed on her own song Love Theme, which was written in 97. Now, another notable one was Beyonce's song Run the World. She was accused of sampling the song Pon de Floor by Major Lazer without properly clearing the sample. But nothing almost ruined her career more than when she sampled the Challenger explosion in her song XO. Begins with audio of NASA's former public affairs officer Steve Nesbitt referring to a major malfunction involving the Challenger space shuttle, which actually exploded just a minute after its launch. NASA said in a statement to The Hollywood Reporter at the time, "The Challenger accident is an important part of our history, a tragic reminder that space exploration is risky and should never be trivialized." Now, in a statement to ABC News in December of 2013, Beyonce explained that she intended for the audio to be a tribute to those who passed away aboard the Challenger. She said at the time, "My heart goes out to the families of those lost in the Challenger disaster." The song XO was recorded created with the sincerest intention to help heal those who have lost loved ones and to remind us that unexpected things happen. So love and appreciate every minute that you have with those who mean the most to you. The songwriters included in the audio in tribute to the unselfish work of the Challenger crew with hope that they will never be forgotten. Many critics didn't accept her apology or statement, and many just believed she was being tone deaf and inconsiderate, with one person online saying, "This is not how you honor the crew members. Nobody asked for this," with another person saying, "This is so random and came out of nowhere. She hasn't once spoken about the Challenger incident. She's definitely lying about her intentions." NASA astronauts, employees, and the families of the Challenger astronauts were extremely upset that she used this audio and didn't think it was a well thought out idea. June Scobie Rogers, the widow of Challenger Space Shuttle Commander Dick Scobie, told ABC News at the time, "We were disappointed to learn that an audio clip from the day we lost a heroic Challenger crew was used in the song XO. The moment included in this song is an emotionally difficult one for the Challenger families, colleagues, and friends. We have always chosen to focus not on how our loved ones were lost, but rather on how they lived and how their legacy lives on today." A former NASA employee, Keith Cowing, said, "This choice of historic and solemn audio is inappropriate in the extreme. The choice is little different than taking Walter Cronkite's words to viewers announcing the passing of President Kennedy or 911 calls from attacks and using them for shock value in a pop tune." Beyonce has never spoken out about this since, and because it caused such a media frenzy, people were not only upset about it, of course, but also ready to cancel her completely. It gave a vibe that she was using tragedy to sell records. Unrelatability. Beyonce's music and public persona have always been centered around themes of female empowerment, love, and self-discovery. However, as she's grown older and more successful, some fans have started to feel like they can't relate to her as much as they used to. Her music has become more experimental and avant-garde, which may appeal to some fans, but not to others. Additionally, her luxurious lifestyle and high-profile marriage to Jay-Z have made her seem increasingly out of touch with the everyday concerns and struggles of her fans. One person online came to her defense and said, "This is a very unpopular opinion, but I feel like the relatable criticisms are from people that want to be nosy as well as find something very negative about her in order to be sanctimonious and sit in their high horse." Now it's a cycle of, let's trauma bond all the while I'm going to silently judge you and think highly of myself for this one little thing. I've already seen people do this with Kiki, Cardi, Megan, Nicki, and several others, because let's face it, the little bit of information that we know about her is stuff that is relatable. Someone actually agreed with this person saying, "I agree with you. What's funny is there is a lot we know about her personal life. Obviously, it's not everything, but we know about her infertility issues, marriage troubles, babies in the NICU, parents' divorce issues, injuries, etc. A lot of these things are plenty significant and relatable, but people ignore that because it's not really about relating, it's about judgment." Beyonce has been accused of cultural appropriation. Beyonce has faced criticism for cultural appropriation, particularly in her music videos and performances. Her 2018 Coachella performance was criticized for borrowing heavily from historically black colleges and universities' culture without proper understanding, credit, or compensation. Use of African culture. Beyonce has been accused of using, African culture as a prop, particularly also in her music videos and performances. Some fans have also criticized Beyonce for not adequately representing the cultures she appropriates, now leading to accusations of exploitation. At the time of the Super Bowl in February of 2024, Beyonce released 2 new singles that sounded a little different than her usual stuff. One of those 2 singles, called, Texas Hold'em, went on to #1 on the Billboard Hot Country chart and eventually #1 on just the Billboard Hot 100. In late March of that year, Beyonce followed up with the release of her new album Cowboy Carter that featured artists like Willie Nelson and Dolly Parton. The outrage was not far behind though. There were some who suggested that since Beyonce was, a black artist, she had no business messing around with country music. There were others who suggested that Beyonce was purposefully, making a mockery of a sacred genre. And yet even others suggested that this was a clear example of the dreaded, cultural appropriation that gets tossed around like a yo-yo with the worst possible timing. The reality is though that Beyonce was born and raised in Texas, and her mother is a Texas native and her father's from Alabama. It wouldn't be a stretch to understand that Beyonce grew up listening to some high quality country music, all her life. Music industry controversies. There's been a lot of accusations of Beyonce stealing ideas. Beyonce has faced accusations of stealing from other artists, including CRIES and Destiny's Child's former manager, Matthew Knowles, who is also, of course, her father and her ex-manager. Now, the Milkshake singer called out Beyonce, as well as producers Pharrell Williams and Chad Hugo, for sampling her 2003 single on the song Energy, allegedly without her permission. CRIES claimed, via Instagram in July 2022, saying, "My mind is blown too because the level of disrespect and utter ignorance of all three parties involved is astounding. I heard about this the same way everyone else did. Nothing is ever as it seems. Some of the people in this business have no soul or integrity and they have everyone fooled." Though neither Beyonce nor her team publicly commented on CRIES's post, the sample appeared to be removed from the Spotify version of Energy in early August 2022, although it can still be heard on Apple Music, so give it a listen. So a lot of sampling without permission has been speculated many times, and Beyonce has been accused of sampling another person's song without permission, a Nigerian singer, Tiwa Savage. Now, there was also a lawsuit over Formation. Allegedly, Beyonce was sued by the estate of Anthony Barr, a New Orleans-based YouTube personality, over the use of his voice and likeness in her song Formation. Now, in 2025, Beyonce won the Grammy for Best Country Album for her album Cowboy Carter, becoming the first Black woman to win in that category. However, some fans and critics said that other nominees were more deserving. In August 2022, Beyonce announced that she would change the lyrics to her song Heated following backlash from disability rights activists. The track includes lines in the song which features a slang term derived from the word spastic. Now, activists argued that the word is considered a slur among people with cerebral palsy. Her team said in a statement at the time, "The word, not used intentionally in a harmful way, will be replaced," but many just called her to be cancelled after that.